Now, before coming into Poson Poya Day, if there are listeners who are not from Sri Lanka, Poya Days are a national holiday actually. It's a public and a mercantile holiday, and we celebrate Poyas. Now, what is a Poya? Poya is a full moon. The waxing and waning of the moon, when it comes to its peak, when it's full moon, we celebrate the Poya Day. And the importance of Poson Poya, like Amalka mentioned, that is the story where Buddhism came to Sri Lanka. And there are some historical evidences that Buddhism prevailed even before, but this is the given legend. This is the most known story that Emperor Ashoka, we don't know if he did with a good intention or with a expanding emperor mindset, but whichever way, we are very thankful for him for doing that. He sent his son with another set of monks, bhikkhunis and lay people to Sri Lanka, and they met King Tissa. Now, when they met King Tissa, it was an interesting story that King Tissa was running behind. He was there for game. He was hunting, and he was hunting a deer. And then Bhikkhu Mahinda, who's the son of Ashoka Emperor, who's a Buddhist monk now, he asked a few questions from King Tissa. Now, I'm sure the Sri Lankans know it. The questions asked were, "Dear sir, what do you see behind you?" Then the king has said, "It's a mango tree." Then he asked, Bhante asked, "Are there any other trees than the mango tree?" We said, "Yes, there's plenty of other trees." And then he said, "Are there any other trees apart from these other trees?" He said, "Yes, that's the mango tree." Now, it looks like a very simple set theory based conversation. Now, what probably know the set theory. You can put something on a set. This particular group belongs to this set, and there are things which are outside that set. So that is not in that set. So that's simple set theory. But I don't think the story ends there. What he gave as a message is very profound, and it's actually the ultimate profoundness that you find in Buddhism. So when Bhikkhu Mahinda was asking this question from King Tissa, "What do you see? A mango tree." Now, assume for a moment that I'm asking you the same question. I'm asking you if you can see a mango tree outside your window. I'm asking, why do you call that mango tree a mango tree? Now, that's an obvious question. You would say, "Swamin Wahanse, it bears the mango fruit. The leaves are like mangoes. The bark, the shape, it's a mango tree." Very simple question. I'm asking again, why do you call it a mango tree? Your previous answer was correct, but let me ask you again, why is it called a mango tree? Then you are going to say, well, if the previous answer is valid, but you are not accepting it, yes, probably it's the norm, that mango is the norm that we gave to that mango tree. Actually, we haven't, our ancestors has given the name mango tree. And I'm not going to accept that answer as well. So then now you might think a little more philosophical. Why is mango tree called a mango tree? Then some philosophical guy might say, well, it's our knowledge. We knew. Like a foreigner who has never seen a mango tree would not know this is a mango tree. So it's really us having that knowledge, possessing that knowledge, makes us say that it's a mango tree. It's a theoretical way to say it, or the philosophical way to say it. I'm asking you again, why do you call it a mango tree? I'm not accepting the answer that we call it a mango tree because it's the characteristic of the mango tree. Know the reason that it's the norm, or that we know it's our knowledge. That is those are not the answers. So then what is the answer that I'm looking for? In order to help to get there, let me ask another question. Now, assume a world where you take all the men out from this world. If you are familiar with this movie Wonder Woman, it's somewhat shows something related to that, something like that. There are no men in that Wonder Woman world. So assume, it's a thought experiment, assume that you take out all men from this world. First of all, there's going to be less heartbreak, because you won't be complaining that the toilet seat is up again, and the smelly laundry is out there. You won't be complaining about a lot of things. So when the men are taken out from the equation, and assume that somehow the kids can grow, children can come out, children can come, and there are no men, and a few centuries go, and the slightest name of man is taken away from, eradicated from that culture. The remainder, what would you start calling this remainder now? Would you call them women? Is there a need to call them women? Because we earlier called them women because there were men, but now there's no men. Should we call them women? We can just call them human, right? We don't need to call them women particularly. But then again, I'm asking you another similar question. Why do you call human human? Well, the obvious answer is that we call them human because it's the norm, it's the characteristic, it's the knowledge. That is why we are calling them human. I'm asking you again, why do we call the human human in this hypothetical world where there are no men, there are only women? So we call them human. Now, an interesting way to look at it is that, what if we take all the animals away also from that world? Would you necessarily want to call the remainder human? Or can you just call them beings, just beings? Because we call them human because they were non-human animals. Now we took out all the animals, from the big ones to the microbes. Now there's only human. Would you want to call them human, or would you just rather call them beings? Now I'm going to ask you the next question, why do we call them beings? And that's quite confusing. We call beings beings because they are beings. They can move, they can consciously think, etc., etc. So if we take out all the non-conscious, non-moving things away, what would we call the remainder? Again, I will ask the question in a different manner. Suppose that there are two glasses of water in front of you. One is hot, one is cold. I'm asking you to put your hands in both the glasses, in the hot glass and the cold glass. Why do you call the hot glass the hot glass? Why do you call the cold water glass cold water glass? Again, you can say that hot is hot because it's X amount of X degrees of Celsius or Fahrenheit, or it's the vibration which makes the heat of any element, of any physical thing. So that is why we call it hot, or there's a discomfort. But again, I'm asking you the question to look at it from a different angle. Why do we call hot the hot and cold the cold? What if we take out all the cold water out of this world? Will there be a separate hot water? I don't know if you figured this out already, but this particular concept is one of the most profound and basic concepts in Buddhism, the dependent arising, or otherwise known as Paticca Samuppada. The existence of one is because there is an existence of an inverse. What do I mean by that? Now let's take the eye. What is an eye? Eye is the device that we see images. Then what is an image? Image are the things that we see from the eye. So it's quite linked. Although eye and images are two different things, how can we separate them? Eye is the device which shows us the images. Images are the things that we see from the eye. Can we talk of an eye without an image, or can we talk of an image without an eye? Not possible. So you see that world sits on a certain dualistic nature. It has certain duality, and again this duality is not individually sustainable. One is prevalent, one is there because of the existence of the complete opposite. Now the first question that Bhikkhu Mahinda asked from King Tissa is not a question to be misunderstood or to be taken lightly at all. It's a very profound question, and the king gave a very profound answer.